Well, welcome to the second episode in our Stress Less, Live More series powered by Zembrin. Isn't that exactly what you want to do? How can you live a life with less stress and really be able to ramp up the volume in how you live your life more? I'm sitting with the expert who is helping us in this conversation. This is our second episode, and if you've missed out on the first, well, you can certainly catch up on Zembrin.com, and that's where you can get more information. My name is Sangweni, and today's episode focuses on the mind. How and what can we do to the mind in order to live more effectively? I'm joined by the MD of HG&H Pharmaceuticals once again. Hello, Dr. Ralph Tettey-Amlalo. How are you, sir?
Good, thank you, Sia. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Yeah. Another day to stress less and live more in our conversation about and around Zembrin and the great product ranges that you cover. These product ranges, by the way, that are available in South Africa and internationally as well. If you are based in South Africa, Zembrin is incorporated in 3 local products that are readily available. And for our international audience, wherever one might be, you can also go into Zembrin.com for more information to find out what lies in your country or in your part of the world. So today, Dr. Ralph, I want to find out, as we focus on the mind, isn't it always the right time to focus and talk about the mind? I want to start off this conversation by asking, what does Zembrin actually do in the body?
Very good question. So Zembrin primarily does 3 things when you take it in the body. Very not to sound too technical, but it impacts on what we call the serotonin receptors. It acts as an inhibitor to those receptors, and that's where you come up with a less stress effect. So and you come up with a mood enhancing and the calming effect. So those are those specific receptors that have responsibility for that. Then secondly, what it also does is that it also acts on another set of receptors, what we call the PDE4, phosphodiesterase 4 receptors.
You have to say that for me one more time.
Phosphodiesterase 4
And what
receptors.
is that?
So those are the receptors that are responsible more for focus, attention, and complex reasoning and executive function. And that's the beautiful thing with Zembrin. You know, you do have the benefit of we typically say it has a dual mode of action, because it has the ability to keep you calm, less stressed, but also has the ability to keep you focused to get on with what needs to be done. And even what we also coin marketing is that we say alert serenity. So it keeps you alert, but keeps you in a state of calmness for you to get on with your day. Like I said in the previous episode, Zembrin keeps you keeps the world in slow motion, and you just power it through and knock it all off. By the time the world is done, you're gone. You know, so that's what Zembrin brings. And finally, Zembrin also offers what we call neuroprotection in our brain neurons. So it's future research. We haven't actually focused a little bit more on it, because where that plays is when it comes to Alzheimer's disease. So Zembrin, I'm sure we'll touch on it somewhere down the line. It's actually very beneficial for the younger generation, but more importantly, because of the focus ability, also for the older generation, and as well as stress as well, because they also go through different types of stress. But what we also notice in that generation is their propensity to lose memory. So what Zembrin does is that it acts as a neuroprotector to those nerves to prevent or at least reduce the likelihood of Alzheimer's dementia.
So I'm fascinated to explore more about the impact Zembrin has on the brain. The way that I think of it is the brain really is the mothership to the rest of the body. It is the control center of how we move, how we think, how we operate. So once we get the brain right, then we are A4 way in a lot of things. So when we talk about something like cognitive clarity, you know, it sounds very, very fancy to say. Let me first just understand, what do you mean when you talk about cognitive clarity?
Okay. So the ability to be able to be calm but think sharp. So if you just keep it that way. So let's look at it. And once we talk about some of our clinical studies, if you picture yourself in a fight or flight situation. So let's say we're in this room and a lion just pops in. Your world will be all over the place.
Yeah.
Your instinct will be to jump, move, make a plan or something, know, but you may not do it with clarity because you're all over the place. What Zembrin does is that it keeps you in a state of focus. You're calm, you can process decisions very quickly and know what to do in that situation. And that talks to one of our studies that we realized that when participants actually took Zembrin, the rate of blood flow that moved into the amygdala portion of the brain was quite significant and it was quick.
Wow.
Right. And that's also another benefit of Zembrin. It's that it's quick acting. People who take Zembrin will be able to see some sort of effects within 0 to 2 hours. So that's how quick it is. And it differentiates that from some of our competitors where you have to take those ingredients for quite some time
before you start feeling the effect.
Not Zembrin. Quick acting, you get responses almost immediately, you're calm, but you're focused.
So you raised that line example. Of course, it's such a far-fetched example for most of us in our daily lives.
True.
So then I wonder, on a day-to-day, average day for most of us, what does Zembrin do in terms of our overall performance and our well-being?
Yeah. So, we constantly have fight or flight situations in our daily lives. It's just that we don't see it. We don't see lions. We'll be concerned if you see lions every day.
Very.
But think about, let's start from the beginning. So let's talk about a university student who has exams coming up. That's a fight or flight situation. Especially one that hasn't prepared for their studies. SWOT week, they've got to make a plan. They've got to study, right? Especially if you're not the organized type, right? Their mind is all over the place. They need something to keep them calm, right? So that they can focus on their studies. That's what Zembrin can do. Think about the busy mother of maybe 2 or 3 children, but she's also a working career lady, has to maintain the household, kids all over the place, and she's got to go to work. That's what Zembrin can also do. The busy executive who has to make very tough calls at work. You've got to stand in front of, you've got to give a broad presentation or even public speaking.
Yeah.
Public speaking. There's a lot of anxiety issues out there and some things don't come naturally to some people. The important thing is to be able to keep calm, but also be focused on what it is that you have to deliver. And I also touched on the elder generation as well, where their source of an anxiety is very different. And for some of them, not all of them, for some of them, it's their inability to retain memory. And it's a very stressful space for not just the sufferer, but also the caregivers, right? Zembrin gives everybody the ability to keep calm and just get along the way. So Zembrin it's an ingredient that offers much benefit across the entire spectrum.
So then if you aren't taking Zembrin, let's talk about what or how stress, how anxiety, how even your mood affects your cognition. Should you not take Zembrin?
Well, if you're not taking Zembrin and you don't have any lifestyle modifications or you're not maybe paying attention to your nutritional diet and stuff, your cognitive performance will drop. It's as simple as that. If you're not in the position to pay attention, to focus, to listen and act on a deliverable, you're just going to fail, or you just wouldn't execute it properly. So Zembrin offers the ability for most of us to just stay calm. And I think that's the important thing. We need to get to a point where you stay calm. So some people can't deliver because their mind is in a mess. There's just too much clutter. So Zembrin helps you rearrange the blocks in your brain, puts it in its compartment so that you can pick the right compartments and execute what you need.
Right.
Yeah.
So this sounds like an enhancement we all need in our lives, and it is something that is natural. So that is an extra benefit of it. I wonder, as we look at our lives in different aspects, what are some lifestyle changes that we can also do in supporting our cognitive clarity, additionally to using Zembrin?
Yeah. very simple, consult a nutritionalist or a dietitian. I think what we eat, I mean, Zembrin is a food, if you look at how it came about, the indigenous people were actually chewing it. So that was their meal, right? So nutrition plays a big part of how we live, healthy, happier lives. So we've got to be able to consult a nutritionist. But also we have to do things that keeps our body and mind active. So some sort of exercise, I don't want to be too prescriptive because we're all different and we have different interests. Some sort of exercise to just keep body and mind together, and also do things that exercise and keeps your brain sharp. Not a lot of people are into chess, or e-gaming is also one of it. And Zembrin has the ability to also keep e-gamers, very calm and focused. I mean, if you see the reaction time and speed and activity with these guys with the arms, you actually wonder, oh my God, what is it how do they keep calm and focused? Yeah. Right. And it's not just e-gamers. I mean, think about your surgery. I'm not saying that you're due for surgery, but let's imagine you're under the table and you're under the knife.
You would certainly want someone.
Yeah, you want your surgeon to be calm and focused.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's a lot of applications where Zembrin can actually play a role.
And so I wonder, Dr. Rolf, why Zembrin? Again, I ask you this question, why Zembrin, and what will set it apart, especially as we look at cognitive clarity?
Why Zembrin? It's a uniquely South African ingredient. It's been sourced and processed ethically. We actually touch the lives of millions of sand people when you take Zembrin. Why Zembrin? To the consumer, it's also quick acting. You want, when you're stressful or when you're in a state of stress, you want something that works quick. You don't want to, otherwise, then what's the point? It's quick acting. It helps you resolve your mental clarity very quick. The good thing is that from a lot of our safety and toxicology studies that we've had to do as part of our journey towards registration, is it's extremely safe and very well tolerated. So in the olden days, mothers were actually given Scilitium tortuosum plants to their infants to help manage colic and teething.
Oh, wow.
So it just goes to show how safe it is, One of our earlier researchers back in the day in Cape Town, when we were, understudying Zembrin, was actually giving it to pregnant women, right? To help pregnant women manage anxiety, especially for first mothers. And that also gives an attestment to how safe this is. And I must say, this is anecdotal evidence. Clinically speaking, we cannot do clinical studies in pregnant women for ethical reasons. But because of its anecdotal use and evidence, it's been able to, if you can use it in babies and use it in pregnant women, generally it's safe, right? In terms of side effects, some common side effects that have been reported as mild headaches and GIT, so a bit of diarrhea, but those resolve very quickly.
Okay.
So it's generally safe. It's quick acting. It's available in multiple products. I know in South Africa, our product range is quite limited to capsules and tablets, but we have them in gummies, in beverages, in stick packs, in food, some food products as well.
Okay.
So health bars. So it has the ability to be used across the world. So if you're not a fan of tablets, you could definitely have it in a drink or have it in the meal as well.
Dr. Rolf, expand on those for me, please, because now I'm taking notes. And I know we are now ready to go to Zembrin.com. We need to do our research as to what product suits us as we continue this ethos of stressing less and living more. Let's talk about the product ranges and what kinds of products we can find Zembrin in that can especially help and support our cognitive clarity.
In South Africa, we have 3 products from 2 companies. So our first company that we partnered with is a company called Brunel Laboratoria, based in Pretoria. Their product is branded Aleve 8. It's a tablet, yellow tablet, and it is available in Clicks and Discount, I guess under the mental wellness or stress departments. We recently launched another product with a company called Grace Pharmaceuticals. They're based in Durban, and they introduced a range called Serenity. So they manufactured it as a capsule or a veggie cap to cater for population that may not prefer tablets, you know. And what they also did as a line extension was to also introduce liquid shots, you know, and these are once-off shot boost, which is Zembrin with a couple of vitamin Bs to give the added energy and immunity. And then, to the best of my knowledge, they're also working on a beverage as well. So they will be one of the first ones to introduce a Zembrin beverage in South Africa. We're working on a couple of new launches, and maybe by the time we do our next episode, I'll be happy to announce.
You have a few things up your
new
sleeve.
launches in South Africa. Internationally, though, and particularly in the USA, that's the wild, wild west. We have a wild range of applications there. You know, from tablets. The other day, I was actually at Now Foods. So Now Foods is a big brand in the US where they have Zembrin with GABA, where they've also branded their product Calm and Focus. Ooh. Yeah, so I did a bit of product training for their team there. But there's millions of products. We have it in beverages. We also have it in a coffee premix by a company called Raka.
Now, the fact that you get the best of both worlds,
exactly,
you get a bit of a caffeine kick, and you also get to be calm. I mean,
exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And you know, there's even now there's a trend of moving away from caffeine into non-caffeine substitutes, right? But still having that kick, right? And that's what Zembrin is also suited for, you know. And the good thing is that Zembrin is non-addictive. It's non-addictive. You can come off Zembrin very comfortably. You can go back on Zembrin very comfortably, and we have the data to support that. But when you're off it, you will know you're off it. You know, your day is not just quite right.
You aren't as calm. You aren't thinking as sharp.
Exactly. Clarity.
That's what we want.
The key word.
That's what we want. Dr. Rolf, see why I need to pick more of your very calm brain? How about this? Can you promise me again that I will get to continue these conversations?
100%, see. I'm always available.
Absolutely. So that is a promise that Dr. Rolf will keep, and you can stick around and get more doses of these conversations. This is our Stress Less, Live More series powered by Zembrin.